everybody. Good morning. How are you? It's Rebecca Yusan here with eXp Realty and My Realtor Lifestyle. And I have the pleasure today of interviewing one of my newest besties, Asia Levystone. We have known each other for probably, I don't know, it feels like a lifetime, but maybe 6 months. And it has just been Asia. You know how you ask for people to come into your life and then they show up and you just can't even believe how fortunate you are to have them in your life? Well, that is Asia.
Thank you.
So, Asia, thank you so much for taking the time to hang out with us today. And I love that you're going to share some of your story with us because I know some of the things that you've been through are going to be really helpful for new and seasoned agents to hear, and they'll understand that they're not alone and all of that good stuff. So Asia, welcome.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me, Rebecca. It's my pleasure.
That's awesome. Okay, so let's dive into our questions here. First of all, we all want to know, when did you acquire your real estate license?
So I got my Florida license last year. I think it was about April of 2021. And I soon decided that I wanted to get my second license in New York because I am originally from New York. So I jumped right into that coursework and squared that away. So I got both licenses last year.
That's awesome. Boy, and time sure does fly, doesn't it?
Totally. I just went right into it, straight out of the gate.
Yes, you did. I watched that. Yep. So tell me what you were doing before you got your real estate license.
So before I got my real estate license, I was a teacher for many, many years. I taught elementary school, and then I moved on to high school. I taught students how to speak English, actually, students from other countries that needed to acquire the language. So I was actually not an English teacher, English as a second language teacher, because I myself love language. I, have traveled all over the world. And, this was like my little niche of helping students become bilingual. And I loved it. I just really, really loved it. I still do. But I also love real estate. So I wanted to venture off and do something else.
I did not know that. That's super cool. I'm trying to learn a second language too, and it's not easy.
No, it's not.
But practice and repetition, right? That's how you do it. So what happened that made you decide real estate was going to be your new profession?
So I bought a home in Westchester County in 2018. And when I was in the process of searching and looking, I, got very close with my realtor. I enjoyed the process very much. I started to look at, her ways of handling her business. She was extremely efficient. She was always available to me. She was there to dry up my tears if I didn't get the house that I wanted. And we became really good friends. And I started to see, like, you know what, I could do that. And I would love to do that. And, it was very different than education. But, obviously, a nice commission check didn't hurt. And I just realized, what, this is something that I really want to explore because I never did anything like that before. So, yeah.
Yeah. So it's interesting. A lot of people think that we just sell houses, but we don't. We're also a counselor. We pick people up off the floor. We wipe away tears with our clients. So it's definitely more than just selling houses.
For sure.
So you're with eXp Realty. How did that happen?
So when I decided that I wanted to go into real estate, like I said, I jumped right in. So as soon as I finished my second test in New York State, I started interviewing around. So of course I started with, the bigger brokerages, Keller and Remax and Coldwell Banker. And then I also interviewed with eXp and a couple of the smaller boutique firms. And I did know that my destination was EXP for sure. Like I was very, very clear on that. I knew EXP had things that other brokerages did not. However, I will say, like a lot of new agents, I was looking a little bit more for that structured training. At least that's what I thought. Right. And I say that because this is very common, with people choosing a brokerage. So I did go with Coldwell at first, knowing that I was going to be moving over to EXP in due time. However, I didn't know that I was going to be moving over within about 2 months.
Wow.
Because I did get a nice foundation at Coldwell. I enjoyed it. Some of the basics that I needed to know coming from like a world of education into something like business or sales, so to speak, or even running your own business. So I did learn a lot from Coldwell, but the truth of the matter is EXP has things to offer that no other brokerage didn't. And I just started to get this like inner voice that kept saying, you know what, just go, jump, you'll be okay. And I was.
Wow. Well, we certainly are happy to have you. You've been so fun to work with. So good job. So a lot of agents, well, when you first start, you're not making any money. So a lot of agents have another job. Is that something that you have as well?
I do not have another job. I went into real estate, realizing the first year or even the first 6 months is going to be a slow start, but I wanted to give it my all, and I've been just grinding away, and I did not have a second job on the side. I thought about it, but I realized this is very time consuming. This is all encompassing. There's so many things that go into it. And if I had another job, I just probably wouldn't be able to get up and running as quickly as I wanted to. So I went in full force, like, full time.
Mm-hmm. Very impressive. And you're absolutely right on all of that. So there's a lot of things that you have to do every day when you're building your business. Tell me the worst thing or the worst part of what you have to do every day to get things going.
Okay, for sure. I will definitely
be honest. It's okay.
So each day there's so many things that I need to do, and sometimes it's hard to stay focused because there's a lot of different types of tasks that need to be executed to get the whole engine running, so to speak. So the hardest thing for me, or the most maybe frustrating thing for me, is really doing the calls in the morning. I try my very best to time block between 9 and like 11:30, 9 and 12. I am doing my phone calls. I did not know this was going to be such a prevalent part of my real estate business, but you do need to do your calls. And what I mean by doing my calls is I need to call people looking for business, for sale by owners, or the expireds, or just people in the area planting the seed. Maybe when they're ready, they'll want to sell or, buy with me. So those phone calls could be a little challenging because there's a lot of rejection. There is a lot of rejection. People are telling you, no, thank you. I appreciate it. Please don't call back. Whatever. Some of the phone calls go well, of course. Mm-hmm. But that was something that I really wasn't used to with any of my, other work experience. So dealing a little bit with rejection can be the hard part.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So you didn't know that you were going to have to make so many phone calls to begin with. Is there anything else that you're experiencing that you just really didn't expect was what this is?
Sure. So yeah, I do have some other things. So let's put it this way. So when you do get a client that is willing to work with you, or they, are ready to buy or sell. For instance, I have a client in mind, her and her daughter. We were working together very, very diligently on buying a place in South Florida. And we must have looked at 15 different properties, let's say. And they were interested in quite a few. So I wrote a number of contracts for them. And lo and behold, there were a lot of things that didn't work out. Like for one property, the inspection didn't pan out to be the way that the buyers thought it was going to be. For another, we were like going back and forth over a few $1,000s, and then they lost that. So the bottom line is you put in a lot of time into these kinds of transactions and building these relationships. And unfortunately, sometimes the buyer will just suddenly abruptly change their minds and say, you know what, I'm not going to buy right now. Even though we just put in 8 weeks of spending time together and you wrote contracts and driving and going and doing, and they change their minds and you have to accept it.
That is hard. Yes. And going through stuff like that really makes you want to quit. But I'm guessing, is there something that you get to do every day that keeps you in it? Why don't you just quit?
So I don't quit. I think part of my personality is like, I'm not a quitter, at least not so soon, for sure. Like I didn't give it enough time. I haven't really thought about quitting, but I will say that, I have to give it more time. I do understand that this is we're independent contractors. If I want to be successful, I need to tackle these challenges by myself. And not by myself, we have support at our brokerage, but I do need to accept them and, shake myself off and just keep going. So I do like the process. I'm kind of leaning towards trying to be more of a listing agent. I like I listed a property and I sold it. I enjoyed that process very, very much. And, I think that it's more suitable for me because there's a little bit less running around and a little bit less unpredictability. Sellers know they want to sell, and you get it sold for the highest amount that you possibly can for the seller in the shortest amount of time with the least amount of stress, and everyone is happy. So, but of course, I'm open to working with buyers too.
Of course you are. Yes. So you have some transactions under your belt now. Tell me about your first transaction. How did you get it? Was it easy? Was it hard? What was it?
So I met a gentleman, and he was living with his family again, and he had another property that he had just been renting out. It was a small property. It was in Tamarack, Florida, because that's where I'm working in South Florida, and he was ready to sell it, and he had spoken to me a few times. We got along really well. He saw that I was a hard worker and I was quite responsible, and we listed it. And once we listed it, we got quite a few phone calls. I will say though, some of the things that I did like above and beyond, was I literally cleaned the apartment myself. I staged it myself. I did invest money into some of the the furnitures, the fixings to make the showings more appealing. So I really brought life back to the condo, and I, excuse me, I put it on the MLS. And when I tell you that I got a phone call within 20 minutes, it was a very, very sweet deal. It was all cash, no inspection, closing in 21 days, I believe.
Wow.
I did hold off just so we could see if there would be any other appealing offers. There were, but it was that first offer that got it sold. And so I can literally say I got it sold in 20 minutes.
Wow, that's impressive. Do you think that's normal?
I do not necessarily think that that is normal, but I will say that in the market right now in South Florida, it is very, very tumultuous, I guess you could say, because of the fact that we have a lot of people moving to Florida, considering everything that's going on, and it's a real hot spot for incoming families. So people want to get these properties, and they're willing to pay above asking. They're willing to pay cash. They're willing to waive the inspection. They want to close very, very soon. So no, I don't think it's normal, but I'm trying to use it to my advantage right now.
Yep, you're a smart girl. So just one last question for you. You've had your license for a little while now, but there's always new agents coming on board or thinking about coming on board. What's your best advice to that brand new agent?
So my best advice for the brand new agent is to work with me at EXP because I provide training for all new agents. I am, a teacher, so I'm very, very savvy when it comes to getting all the information, presenting it in the best possible light. No, just kidding. So my advice would be to sit down and really, really learn things one step at a time. There are going to be some, painful things that you go through in the beginning. For me, a lot of it came via the technology because joining a digital brokerage, everything is online. I needed to learn things like now. I needed to experience different platforms as far as like marketing and editing and, all different types of things that I never had to really use before. And it was hard. So I would say, don't give up. Use your resources. Find people that will be able to help you before you start to say, this is not for me. Because the situations that I had experienced, which were extremely frustrating regarding technology or the phone calls, like I said, and then, you just wake up and you list a property and you get it sold and you're so happy. It's a vast difference. So you're going to have days like that. And then you're going to have these miraculous days, that are coming. So I would say, don't give up, learn what you need, use your resources.
That is great advice. That's perfect.
Sure.
Well, Asia, I love working with you every day. And you know how you just know someone is going to be uber successful? That's how I feel about you, because you just get in there, do what you have to do, and get it done. So it would be fun if everyone was like that, but it's just not the case. So
you're very helpful too. I must say, I love those daily kind of counsel advice for the new agents, and I really listen to them and I take them into consideration for sure. So you're helping a lot of people, so thank you also.
Well, good. It's definitely important that we give back and help each other. It just makes our whole profession stronger and better. So that's what I try to do with that. So all right, Asia. Well, I know you have a very busy day ahead of you with your phone calls.
I'm going to get back to work.
Yep. So time to get back to work. So I will let you go. But thank you so much for your time. This is going to be really helpful and valuable information for a lot of new agents.
Okay.
So I will see you soon.
Thank you so much for having me, Rebecca.
All right. You're welcome. Have a great day.
You too now.